Okay, so now I got, the cameras all set up and things working, and I'm able to record myself at will, spontaneously, blah, 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 blah. And it took me, years of experience to get to where I'm at. Not that I'm at the, ending place, not that I'm at the best place I can be or the end, but it took years to get to where I'm at right now. And now that I'm here, and I think that I'm, making some, videos that, look fairly, well, technically, at least technically exciting if you're a geek, to be able to switch cameras and shoot live. This is the editing. This is the post-production. This is just me actually switching cameras. As soon as I hit stop on this, I'm able to upload it. There's no, extra stuff. And I should probably put some graphics on this to make it real fancy, but now I'm doing all this. I don't have nothing to say. I don't have nothing to say. The only thing that I really want to talk about, my philosophy has just about broken down to nothing matters. So all the relevant issues out there, I get excited about initially. You could even say I'm triggered by them. But then by the time I stop and think about it, I'm thinking they're either beneath me, behind me, irrelevant, or just doesn't matter. I mean, everything from the riverfront brawl to Trump indictments to abortion laws, it doesn't matter. And I was listening to a podcast. Oops, I got the microphone right here. I was listening to a podcast, Lex Fridman, and they were talking about panpsychism or whatever the word is. And they were really got into talking about the self in Nietzsche and how nothing really matters. And I guess I was listening to another guy who was he was an apologetic, guess. I mean, he believed in God and he was trying to scientifically show evidence of God or his philosophical or scientific debate or proclamation or theory or whatever that God existed based on, the way he put things together philosophically and, using parts of science. And and I'm not sure how it came down. He was using a lot of big words, so it was really interesting and fun to listen to. And I can't remember. Basically, it came down to everything is so complicated, so God must have done it. And there was a lot of leaps from, how could this happen to it must be God. Or basically, he was saying he was taking things that were unexplained, which is basically the God of the gaps, and saying because they couldn't explain, this is why he believed in God. And he's, totally free to do that. Totally free to do that. Everything's subjective. Everybody's free to do everything. I didn't mean to put it down. I'm not saying anybody's not free to do anything. I'm just saying it's fair game, if you ask me. You can think whatever you want based on any evidence or lack of evidence that you want. But even he started from a point where nothing matters. What pushed him, I might be understanding this wrong, but what pushed him to believe in God was the fact that he could not accept the fact that nothing matters. That part was too hard for him to swallow. So it kind of pushed him to I'm looking at some work. It kind of pushed him to, believing in God. And, justified, unjustified, right or wrong, if I agree with it or not, it's irrelevant. That was what happened when he was on Joe Rogan. In fact, he was on Joe Rogan show. But I'm looking at things and I mean, nothing really matters. So, and that kind of, Corey, it goes back to myself, to my other understanding that the only thing that matters is self. And I know I've said this before, and I'll probably keep saying it again, because each time I say it, I get a better understanding of what I just said, and I'm moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Then eventually I'll leave off some of the stuff that the idea will evolve. But, and I guess that's why now, see, if nothing matters, nothing really triggers me, nothing matters. I'll start talking about my Pittsburgh Steelers pretty soon. And I'll start talking about Parliament fucking. Like, in fact, what happens is I was talking to somebody, I forget. Somebody was saying, yeah, they watch on videos or whatever. He said, you don't talk about P-Funk anymore. You don't even talk about the Steelers anymore. The only thing I talk about is me. And that fits with everything that I've been saying. The only thing that matters is self. And I don't want to say that like me, 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 me. It's not that. It's whatever you see, your reality, what you see, what you think is the only thing that matters. The way you see reality, the way you take in reality, the reality that you see, that you perceive is the only thing that matters, because your reality will not match somebody else. There'll be bits and pieces here that probably can co-tangle. I just made that word up. There are bits and pieces of everybody's reality that can find what's that word? Common ground or common understanding or even direct relationships. But no two realities are alike. So what really only matters is what you think and what you see. And that may be very hard for some people to accept, not understand, to accept that they are responsible for their own reality. It can be tough for a lot of people to accept or maybe understand that they are responsible for their own reality. You can't say Jesus is this. You can't say God this. You can't say your pastor, your father, your mother. You can't say the country is going to take care of me. You can't say, you can't place you can't place any philosophical responsibility on somebody other than yourself. Actually, you can do whatever the hell you want to. And many people do. And it's probably a good thing that we have some people who are followers to the point that where, like worker ants, to the point that where they're more comfortable, and they maybe even be built and designed and maybe have even evolved to get their philosophy, understanding, intentions from an outside source. We need worker ants. And since I'm not one, it's hard for me to understand that's a thing. It's just hard for me to understand that, anybody can believe or think that way. I'm just not cut that way. So I'm probably said this before. I keep saying it again. Like I said, every time I say it once, say it twice, say it three times, my understanding get better and grow better and get better. Oh, another thing I was talking about, I don't even want to go into this, but another thing I was talking to my daughter about what is black? What is being black? What is being black? What does it mean to be black? What are the characteristics or tendencies of black people, whatever? When you think of a black person, what do you think of? What I am at a point now where I need to distinguish between what I think is ghetto and what I think is black. And in that, trying to decide between those two, because is ghetto black? Is black being ghetto? No, I don't accept that. No, because I know there's lots of black people, including myself, who aren't ghetto. But there's a stereotypical, like, underlying commonness in there that when you say being black, we kind of know what we're talking about. But when you go to articulate it, it's very hard to articulate. You kind of know, you can say, oh, he ain't black, she ain't black. And we kind of know. Of course, I'm going to be labeled as not being black. because of my views. Number one, atheism. I don't love Jesus. Number two, I don't think I'm a victim. I don't fall into that racism. I'm a victim narrative. And there's a lot of parts of the Black culture that I just like, the whole Medea type thing. But then that goes to being ghetto. Is that ghetto or is that being Black? That whole kind of sassy, kind of, stereotypical. I keep saying the word stereotypical because that's the only word I can think of right now. That idea of what being Black is. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. I'm conservative and I'm probably approved. So the long nails and the eyelashes, which I keep thinking is Black, and I think my daughter may have corrected me, saying, no, that's ghetto, and there's a difference. So what's the difference between, not a difference. So what does it mean to be Black? What is being Black? What is Black right now? Is Black a government worker who's been working for the state for 30 years, church going, 2.7 kids, no, 4.3 kids, what is Black? What is Black anymore? There's so many different elements of it. And not only there's so many different elements of it, I was thinking, you can say Black people are this. You can say all Black people are this, X, whatever it is, and you'll be condemned. You'll be shot down and condemned for it. You can't say all that. You can't say all Black people are this. You'll be shot down and condemned for it. But if you say all Black people are a victim of racism, you're right. You're right. All Black people are. There's just one category I was thinking. You can just say all Black people are blah. Across the board, nothing. You can't say nothing. It's nothing you can say all Black. You can't even say all Black people are Black. You can't even say that. There's nothing you can say all Black people are except for that there are victims of racism and police brutality. All Black people should have to fear for their lives when they get stopped by the police. All Black people suffer under systematic racism. That's one of the things you can say absolutely, in my mind, based on the blowback and rhetoric that comes back to me when I make certain statements, or the statements that I see out there in social media or I'm talking to people. Do I care about this stuff or am I just talking? I guess I was not so much triggered. Triggered isn't the word. I wasn't triggered. But I was inspired to talk about this. I was definitely inspired to talk about this. So I guess that's something.